everyone, it's Jamie and welcome back to my channel and welcome to another cross-stitching-ish video. So I'm going to say in this video there's going to be some cross-stitch, but there's also going to be some other things. Like I'm going to talk a little bit about knitting, specifically a sweater and some socks. I also need to tear apart a sweater, and I'm also going to be kitting up a new cross-stitch start. But I'm going to start off because there's just random things I need to make sure I get done this week. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to be making a list. I like making lists. So I am making a list on my tablet and I just use the Notes app, which is from Samsung. Anyways, so to start with, the first thing I want to do is a cross-stitching thing. And that is I'm going to be working on Merry Mushroom Village Picnic number 3. I have been working on this since I think I started it in 2024. Yes, because this is the Hade Heaven and Earth Designs stitch along from 2024. And I would like to get a color finished this week, so I'm going to write that down, finish color on the Hade sale. And then I will insert like a screen recording of this. Finish color Hade sal. And then I will show you the color real quick. So I will open up Pattern Keeper, and the color I would like to finish is color, it's the color with the most amount of stitches left on this chart, and it is color 498, which is going to be part of the mushroom. So just like the little mushroom, but it's going to be more along the bottom part because it's like a red color. So I'm going to be working in an area that I haven't really worked before, so hopefully I don't make any mistakes, but I would like to get that color finished. So that's the first task that I will write down. I'm also going to write down the color name, 498. So that's one thing we want to do. Another thing I want to do is, and I'm going to stick to cross stitch first, so I need to kit up this project. So this is Halloween Quaker by Lila's Studio, and this is going to be a new start in May. So I need to get ready for a new start. So I'm going to put kit up Halloween Quaker. And so there's a few things I need to do. So number one, I will grab one of my kits real quick and show you, is I always make floss cards for all of my projects. And so I just have these paper cardboardy floss cards that I get from, I think I had to get them from AliExpress. I don't love AliExpress in general, but it was the only place I could find these ones. I do have some that are plastic that I was able to get on Amazon, and I think some other places might have them now. And I always put a small amount of floss onto a floss card to keep with the project, because like if I travel, like this project I'm going to be working on a vacation, I want to make sure that I have some floss for that project without having to dig into my master set and like take my master set with me, because I do have all of my floss is kept on the plastic cards that are from Amazon, and I keep all of my floss pre-cut. It's just my preference, because then I feel like I can stitch faster and like kit up things faster when everything is pre-cut. I can just grab, you know, a couple strands off of here, put them onto my travel floss cards, and then when I am stitching, everything is already cut for me. And so I'm not having to waste time like unwinding floss and then winding it back up and all that. So I like having everything pre-cut, and I store my master set on one of those long rolly carts from Michaels. Everyone has the rolly carts. I see them in like every craft. Everyone has the rolly carts. So like cross stitchers will have them, knitters. I see book channels where they keep their TBR on one of the 3-tier rolly carts from Michaels. The rolly carts are amazing. Anyways, so for Halloween Quaker, I need to make floss cards for it. I already have the fabric. This is my fabric. It is from Witch's Garden Crafts on Etsy. I bought this fabric, I think a couple years ago, and I love it. And I've been waiting to be able to start this chart. It's a 18 count and it's called Deadly Blooms. I think this was a fabric that was in the Etsy shop for a stitch along that was called Deadly Blooms, I think. And yeah, I love this fabric. And I like that it's an 18 count because I had another chart that I was thinking about starting, but the fabric that I have picked out for it is a even weave, and I am not stitching even weave on a vacation. It's not happening. Anyways, so another thing that I'm going to need to do to kit this up is I have the paper chart. My sister is the one who gave it to me because she stitched this previously. And one thing I want to do is make a copy so that I don't ruin the actual copy of this chart when I'm gone and when I'm stitching, because I like to highlight things as I go. I also might try putting this into Pattern Keeper, you know, taking a picture and then putting it into the Pattern Keeper app and seeing how that works, even though I think I would prefer working off of paper when I'm on vacation. I don't know, we'll see. But I need to make some sort of other copy of the chart because, like I said, I don't want to ruin this one when I'm marking things off. So that is what I will need to do for this project before I go. Also, something I'm not sure of is I'm not sure yet if I'm going to use the DMC floss or the classic colorworks. I think I'm going to kit it up using DMC because I have all the DMC, but I am going to be going to a cross-stitching store on my vacation, and if they have other like flosses there, like some dyed ones or something that are either the ones that are called for the classic colorworks, or if they have like a different brand of floss that has, you know, similar colors. Like there's one here that's smoke, or you use DMC 3799, so that's basically just a dark gray. If I can find something else that's like a nice dark gray, then I could use that. So that's one thing, is I'm going to kit it up with DMC, but I also might sub colors out when I go to the cross-stitching store. So that is something to also know, and I can't wait to start this. This looks like such a fun chart. I'm gonna hold it up closer. I love this. I also don't know where I should start on this. Like, do I start in a corner or do I try and start in the middle? But I also feel like the middle would be a really hard place to start because I think that's where like the witch would be. So, but I am excited for a new start, and I'm also like kind of looking forward to some smaller things because this isn't huge and most of my stuff right now is pretty big. Like I feel like the things that are smaller and can be finished, I've kind of finished on my whips, and so smaller things will be nice. I'm not sure yet what my second new start will be. I have mentioned before that I got a cross-stitching book, and so I'm thinking about starting something from the cross-stitch book that I got. It's a fantasy cross-stitch book. Or I also just have some other charts that I need to go through and see what I might want to do. I know that if I start a different project, I want it to be on a plastic canvas because I just got more of the plastic canvas, which I used for this Game Boy project. I stitched it on the plastic and I really enjoyed working on it. It is good for traveling, which I've mentioned I will be traveling, and it will make for easy stitching. The plastic canvas that I have, I recently got it from 123 Stitch. I was placing an order for floss and I've used this before and I really enjoy it, and it's also pretty cheap. So each plastic canvas was only $1.20 and I got 5 of them because I really like them. I've also stitched a couple other things on them. One of them's over there, and I thought it would be fun. Like I eventually would like to do like maybe a bookmark on the plastic canvas or do like Halloween ornaments because I do have like a Halloween little tree, and so it'd be fun to like one day decorate it. So yeah, I got a bunch of plastic canvas, and so I would like to start something on it, but I need to see what I have pattern wise that will fit on the plastic canvas. And this is a 14 count. I don't know if I mentioned that. So there is that. Also for the plastic canvas, I have stitched, the Game Boy project was 3 strands, I think, but 3 strands is pretty thick on the plastic canvas. And so I have another project that I did 2 strands. I'll just grab it. This project here, I used 2 strands on the plastic canvas, and the black you can kind of see the canvas through, but it was much more enjoyable to stitch because it did not get as thick, because the Game Boy one, it got really thick. But that was my first project on plastic canvas. So there was this one. This pattern was free. I can't remember the website, but I'll link it down below. And it's Joker from the Persona 5 video game, which is a great video game. I love that game. You have to be prepared to put a lot of hours into it, but great game. And then I also have stitched this one. This was another like travel project when I went to Disneyland the last time. I did this little mini Disneyland piece. I also used 2 strands on this, and I also enjoy it. So there was this. This is like, if you've never been there, this is the Mickey Mouse wheel in California Adventure. So plastic canvas, love it. Anyways, I need to get back to making my list. So what else do I need to do? That's the only cross-stitching things that I have to do, is to kit up the one thing and then finish the color on Merry Mushroom Village Picnic number 3. Knitting, I would like to finally tear apart this sweater. This is the diaphanous raglan from Jessie May Designs, and I love the top. I love the look of it, but it's not practical. The sleeves are just one strand of the lace, and they get like caught on things, and it's not practical, like these loose drapey sleeves, for me anyways. And so I think I want to tear this apart, and I think I want to use the lace weight to make a short sleeve ranunculus top, which I've seen people say that if you make a short sleeve one and crop, you only need like one like skein, hank of yarn, whatever you want to call it. And so I'm hoping that I'll have enough of this hot pink. And then I'm also happy because I'm going to have like a purple, because I was holding in the body part, you hold together the lace weight, and then I was holding it together with a fingering weight purple. So I'm excited. I want my yarn back. I just know that the lace could be hard to get apart because it could be like sticky and stick together. So we'll see how that goes, getting it like apart. And then I also will need to wash it to get like the crinkles out of the yarn and then get it all balled up. So that's going to take a little bit of time, but I really need to get that done because I want to make a ranunculus. I have been seeing so many videos of people where they're like, I've made 5 and each one looks so different. And it's true, because you can use different weights of yarn. There's different neck options, I think. You can do short sleeves, you can do long sleeves, you can do crop, you can do long, I've seen someone make a dress. Like, you can do anything with a ranunculus. Anyway, so what are we gonna call this? Frog sweater. Frog sweater. Sad. Anyways, let's put a little sad. Okay. And then the last thing that I need to do is I need to prepare to start another sock. So I need to pick some yarn. I need to decide what sock pattern I want to use and get that all ready. So like, I might need to cake up the yarn because a lot of my yarn is not caked up, you know? And so let's see, prep sock, because I want to have a travel sock, because socks are like the most travel friendly project. They are small, you don't need a lot of yarn, you're not making something that's huge like a blanket or something where, you know, it's hard to travel with. A sock can basically fit into most of my purses or bags, I think. And they're small and easy to do. Like, once you get, you know, I've always done a top down sock. That's right, right? Yes, I never do toe up. I've never done toe up yet, actually, is the way I should put it. And so once you get past like the ribbing at the or at the top, then you're just knitting in circles for however long. So yeah, it's pretty easy once you get the hang of it. And then I know I was always really intimidated by the whole like making the heel, but you're basically just putting stitches on hold and then stitching a little section by itself. So it's not scary. It's not as scary as I thought it was, and I really want to get back into making socks. Anyways, that is a long introduction, but yeah, this week is really just going to be kind of doing all the little like things that you need to do to get ready for, you know, projects. They're not as exciting as actually like making progress on a project, but it's things that need to get done if you would like to work on a new project. So that's what I'll be doing. I'll be showing you probably some things along the way, like if I finish my color on Merry Mushroom Village Picnic number 3, showing if I can get this torn apart nicely. Like I said, the pink might be a sticky yarn because it is a lace, so it might not come apart very nice. And yeah, and then show you like what patterns I possibly pick out to start and all that fun stuff. So I will be back when I have some progress. It is currently Thursday, and I thought I would give an update on what I have gotten done on my checklist, which I have over here. And I actually added some to my checklist. So when I was first writing it at the beginning of the week, it was like a pretty basic checklist, and it didn't really have all the extra little things that I wanted to do. So I rewrote it where I wrote down, like, for kitting up a project that I need to make floss cards, copy the chart, and like all like the individual steps I wrote down. So we're gonna go through my list, and we're gonna start off with the first thing on my list, which was finish a color on the Haid stitch along. And I am almost finished with the color that I had picked. I was stitching the color 498, and I think there was over 1,000 stitches, and I currently have like 100 stitches left of this color to do. So here is my progress on this, and it was all this red color. And so I just need to fill in a little bit more right here. And then that color will be finished. And then I think once I finish the color I'm working on, I am going to start working on another color, which is another yellow that will be in the upper part of the mushroom. So that's my plan for Merry Mushroom Village Picnic. Number 3 is finish the color I'm working on. And like I said, it's Thursday, so I'm hoping I can finish this color today. And then I will start working on the next color. And then this video will be going until Sunday. So we'll see how much I get done on the next color, but it's progress. And then the next thing on my list was kitting up Halloween Quaker, which is a chart that I want to start next month. And I have done one of the things on the list so far, which is make the floss cards. So I will check off or cross off make the floss cards because I've done that. So the floss cards are in the bag here. And so you can see all of the colors, which is very fun. I still need to make a copy of the chart or take a picture or something so I can put it on my tablet or my phone. And then I also need to get a project bag out, which I use the zipper pouches that I can get off of like Amazon. And I need to get it into a project bag and then also like grab a needle, scissors, and like all the things that you need to actually stitch the project. You know, you don't want to get somewhere and then find out you didn't bring a needle. Even though, like I said, there's a cross stitch store where I'm going when I start this. The next thing that is an addition to the list, because I didn't have it picked out before, but I had mentioned possibly having 2 new starts, and I had mentioned wanting to have a start from this book. And this is where I'm going to have to like eat my words majorly, because I had talked about like, oh, I want to do something on plastic canvas, and I for sure don't want to do it on linen. Like I don't want to stitch an even weave on vacation. Yeah, I might be bringing an even weave on vacation. And so I was looking through this book, which this is a book from Needle-Lot Designs. I was able to get this from the publisher. They reached out to me, and the publisher is, I think, Page Street Publishing. So yes, thank you for this book. I am enjoying it. And so I knew I wanted to start something, and I was looking through it with my daughter, and she had a couple charts that she liked, so I will show those charts. So one of them that she really liked was this rabbit one. It's called Rabbit Druid. My daughter really likes charts with animals in it. And sometimes you might wonder too, like I always talk about like my daughter and like the things that she does, but like she's just the one who's more into my stitching and like is out with me, whereas my boys don't really care that much about stitching. Like if I ask them their opinion on something, they're just like, I don't know. Anyway, so she saw this, she liked this, that's why I have a post-it there. But then the one that she fell in love with, like I turned to this one and her reaction was yes, yes, yes. So we didn't even need to keep looking through the book, and it was a unicorn chart that is called Enchanting Unicorn. And one thing I like about this book is that it tells you the amount of stitches. So this chart is 3,258 stitches. And then I also like to that I was kitting it up because I am going to be stitching this one. And when you kit it up, it tells you how many stitches you need of like, or how many stitches there are of each color. So like there's like 310 only has 10 stitches. So like I was able to kit this one up, make the floss cards, and I was able to be like, I don't need a lot of 310, so like just put in like a very small amount of 310. So I made floss cards for this unicorn chart, so I can cross that off. But then one thing I have to do for this chart is I have to pick a fabric. And so first thing is my daughter has said that she would like it to be made into a pillow afterwards, so plastic canvas out. And so I was looking at fabrics and I want to try and use something that I have. And so one thing that I had was this iridescent Ada from DMC. It's a blue sparkly. You probably can't see the sparkles because it's in the plastic. The only problem is that this color is too similar, I think, to some of the colors that are in the pattern. So the unicorn itself is these blues here. And so the lightest blue would kind of blend in. So that was out. Plus, if we're making a pillow, the sparkly fabric from DMC is kind of scratchy. It's not the best pillow material. So that was out. So then I was going through and seeing what else I had. One thing that I had was this piece of fabric that was left over from Strawberry Farm, which I had stitched, I think, last year. And so this was an option, you know, we could make like a little like rectangular pillow. And she liked this one. I think this is like her second favorite fabric of the ones that I showed. And this is a 14 count. So this would have been nice to stitch on. I also had this fabric, which was a piece of fabric that I've stitched something on previously, but I could have, you know, chopped off this bottom piece and stitched it on this, which is, I think, Harold from Picture This Plus. And this is also, it's a 16 or 18 count. And it's a nice fabric because it's soft. Like, it's a lot softer than this DMC one, but it's almost too soft for stitching, like enjoying wise. But this was, I think, her third. So like I showed her 3 different fabrics yesterday. This was like, I think, her third. This was her second favorite. And then I will show you her first favorite. And this one will work. I think I just have to measure to make sure that I have enough for the project it's originally for. So I have this really big piece of fabric that I got from the sewingshop.ca. The fabric is a 32 count linen, which, like I had mentioned, I didn't really want to stitch linen traveling, but I just won't work on this like on the plane. I can work on this, you know, well, if I have time like at night, you know, while we're like, you know, just hanging out with my family. So this fabric was originally bought for a Zelda chart from Pinky the Pink Designs. I haven't started that chart yet just because I haven't been ready for, like, they're pretty, what's the word? They're very intricate designs. They have a lot of like half stitches, quarter stitches, a lot of back stitching. They use metallics, there's beads, there's a lot that goes into them, and I just haven't been ready to start it yet. And so I will start it eventually. I just haven't. And I had bought this fabric. It's called Ursula's Domain from the sewingshop.ca, and I think that the fabric I have is way more than I need. So it's this really big piece of fabric, really, really large. And so I was thinking that I need to measure how big Zelda will be. And then we were thinking, me and my daughter, of using this bottom portion possibly for the unicorn. So the unicorn itself, it's not that big. I need to do like the actual stitch calculator thing and figure out how much fabric I need. But I think it would look really good either doing it like on this, but I'm not sure if this will be too similar to the blues here, or on like the side with like the brighter purples where it's more purpley. So that's what we're leaning towards, is this linen, and it would also be a nice pillow. You know, I don't know what fabric for the back yet, but I think this would work pretty well. And so I think that's what we're leaning towards, and it's not what I had planned on. You know, it's not a plastic canvas or anything like that, but we're really liking the idea. And so if you like the idea, sometimes you just gotta go with it. You know, you get so excited that you don't even care that it's not what you planned for. So there's the process. We are working on getting this one kitted up. I still need to officially pick the fabric, which just involves me getting the measurements of, I need to get the measurements of Zelda to find out how much fabric I need for Zelda, and then see how much I can cut off from this to use for the unicorn. So I'm pretty sure that's the fabric we're going with. And then I also need to, I already took pictures of the chart from the book actually, so I can cross that off because I erased instead, so we will go back. Just because I don't want to ruin the book. So I just took pictures. I think on her Instagram, Need a Lot Designs, she had posted that if you send like a receipt, so if you buy the book and then you send her a copy of the receipt, that I think she would send you pattern keeper copies. I'm not gonna do that. Like I said, I'll just stitch it from a picture and you can like edit and like mark off the stitches you've done. So we did that last night. And so the next things I'm going to talk about are my knitting things that I would like to try and get done. I have started, and so I ripped out my sweater, which was the diaphanous raglan. I had talked about possibly making a ranunculus. This is another thing that might change because I found 2 other sweaters on Ravelry that use a lace weight yarn and are kind of like airy, like more of like a throw on over like a tank top in the summer if you start getting like chilly. And so there's 2 other ones that I like. So I'm not sure yet which one I'm gonna make. I think I will for sure make a ranunculus eventually. I just don't know if I want to use this yarn for it. Anyways, so frogging the sweater, I did rip all of it out and it came out really nice. Like it was not hard to do. There was not any places where I had to like cut the yarn or anything like that. The only thing is I ended up with like a million little pieces of yarn. Where did I put my bucket? I have a bucket that has all of them. Because like the way you knit it is you knit the shoulders and then the other shoulder, and then you connected it for the body. So when you were knitting the shoulders, because like the sleeve itself was pink, you had a ball of purple in the front, a ball of purple in the back, a ball of purple in the front, a ball of purple in the back. And so there were 4 small pieces that came from here, I think, and then you connected for the body, knit the body, that was all fine. And then for the sleeves, you joined just the pink to knit the sleeves. And then at the cuff, you did the purple and the pink together. So then there was a small amount of purple from each cuff. So I have like these really small balls of the purple from the cuff. And then you also do a V-neck ribbing. And so then there was like a really small amount of the pink and the purple that was from the V-neck. So I have just like a bunch of kind of small balls of the purple. And so the thing is the sweater's ripped out, but I still need to do quite a bit of things for the yarn. So I have made some hanks. So like this one, I have used my Swift to get it back into this condition where I then will wash it to get out all the kinks. And so I still need to do that for the purple. So like all these little balls of the purple, I need to use my Swift and then make them into a hank and then I can wash them. I will say that the pink, I have already washed all of the pink because I would like to use that first. And so you can see the difference. So it looks kind of like ramen noodles after you rip it out and then you wash it and it looks a lot smoother, you know, so you're closer to ready to knit. And so I still need to finish doing the purple and washing it. And then for the pink, I need to cake it up. And so that's something I need to do. And so then I can like possibly swatch for what top I want to make with this pink yarn. It's so bright. I love it. I remember I used to have my hair like a color that was like similar to like a hot pink. It was like neon pink hair. Anyways, so that's where I'm at on that sweater. And then I have not done anything yet for the sock. I still need to pick my yarn. I need to cake the yarn up if it is not in a usable condition. Like I do have some of the sock yarn that you can get from Michael's where it's already like wound up and you can use. So I do have some of that, but I'm not sure yet what I'm using. And then I also need to make sure that my little bag with my sock supplies are in it. So I have 2 circular 9-inch needles, and so I can do my socks both going at the same time on a 9-inch circular. I have my DPNs that I use for when I get to the heel, and then also I usually will have like all my stitch markers, a little stitch counter for my finger, and just make sure I have all the little notions that you need for making the socks. So I still need to do all of that. And I have, like I said, until like Saturday night, Sunday morning, I would like it all done. But yeah, I think that's somewhat good progress, especially because like I think ripping out the sweater probably took the most amount of time. And like I said, it wasn't necessarily hard. Nowhere got stuck, but there was times when I was ripping out, the shoulders were the worst, where I had the purple the pink going throughout the whole thing and then another thing of purple, and so I was having to untwist the pink and purples and then do like a little bit of just pink, get to another pink purple section where I was untwisting them, and then I had the ball of pink and 2 balls of purple, and so that part took a little bit more time just because it was slow, but it came out nicely, so that's really all that matters. That is all my rambling for now. I will be back probably Saturday or Sunday to give like my final updates. Like, what did I get done? What fabric did I end up picking for my enchanted unicorn? And all of that. So I'll see you then. It is now Sunday, and so I'm going to finish filming this video, get it wrapped up on what I got done this week, and I think I got most of what I need to get done finished, so we'll go through my list. So first thing is the finished color on the Haid Stitch Along, which was $4.98. I had already finished that color, and then I started working on the yellow here. And I think I only did like 400 stitches of the yellow, and so once I get home from vacation, I will probably pick this piece back up and try and get another, or finish that yellow color when I get back. But yeah, I'm leaving on vacation tomorrow, which is Monday, and we're only going to be gone for a few days, and so I don't know when this video is going to go up, but I will probably be filming another video right after this video of me like on vacation going to a cross stitch store because I am going to Las Vegas where there is Stitcher's Paradise. And so I'm gonna be going to the cross stitch store and I cannot wait. And like I said, I'm hoping to like film a little, you know, what I get, if I get anything. Anyway, so here's my progress on the Haid Stitch Along, and then I needed to kit up projects to work on while I'm on vacation, and the 2 that I wanted to kit up is Halloween Quaker and the Enchanted Unicorn chart that my daughter picked out. And so for Halloween Quaker, I still needed to prep the chart, and I did do that, and also get it in a project bag, and I needed to pick fabric for the unicorn chart and then a project bag. So all that is done. They each have one of these project bags that are just from Amazon, and the fabric that I ended up picking for the unicorn chart, I ended up going with the linen. It's a 32 count and it's what my daughter had wanted. So I have my piece of fabric cut out. I had more than enough fabric from that piece that I was using for Zelda. Like, there is still another piece off of here that I can use for something else because it was a really big piece of fabric. And I think my daughter, we talked about it, and like I think the fabric is going to go like this with like the unicorn head on this side and then going across. Like we were looking at the fabric, like which way we wanted it oriented before we cut it and everything. So that's all figured out. I have everything that I need packed. I have my smaller nerd hoop because I like that it fits inside my project bag. I have my charts printed out. I have my floss cards made. I have scissors that are appropriate length for travel, and I also have my needles. So all of that is done and ready, and I have that for both of my projects. So they're all ready to go. I think I might actually put like my first stitch into one of the pieces tonight, so that starting the pieces is always kind of like the hardest to get it like in the right position. And so for the unicorn chart, I think I'm just going to start it directly kind of like in the middle of the fabric, where you just fold the fabric in half, fold it in half the other way, find the middle, and then I'll just find the middle of the chart. But for the Halloween Quaker chart, I did do measuring just to make sure that I'm starting in the right spot. I think I'm going to start this chart in the bottom corner, and I put a needle and I marked it where I'm going to be starting. So this is going to be where I need to start to give myself the appropriate amount of border. And so I figured all of that out already and did that. So I think I'm ready for my cross stitching starts, which I'm looking forward to. And then frogging the sweater. So I did not really fully finish, but I finished what I wanted to, which is the pink, because the pink is what I'm going to be using first. I don't think I'm going to use the purple right away. So all of the pink is caked up, washed and everything, and ready to go. And so when I get back, I think I will be starting a knit top, and I still am not sure which pattern I want to use yet, because I did find one that I really like. It has like a little like lace detail around like the neck, and then otherwise it's just like a really sheer piece, and it looks like it would be like a nice layering piece to throw on over like a tank top in the summer. So for frogging sweater, I need to be crossing off all the things. Okay, frog sweater. I got the one color I wanted done. And then prepping socks. So I ended up picking this yarn for my knit socks that I want to start. And this is from, I think, Knitwit. I don't remember, but I think they closed down, so it doesn't really matter because you can't find this yarn anymore. And I think this color was called Death to Sexism. Yes, that is correct. So it was from Knitted Wit, which like I said, I think they closed down. And then here's the color, Death to Sexism. And I got this yarn a few years ago, if I remember correctly. And so I took the yarn, I divided it into 2 different cakes because I want to be able to start each of the socks and like make sure I have enough for each sock. And then I started one of the socks already because to me the cast on, when you have to like count the stitches as you're casting them on, and then the ribbing is kind of like not my favorite part, so I would rather try and get out of the ribbing quickly. So I have one sock started and I'm almost finished with the ribbing on the first sock, and then I have my bag packed of my knitting things that I need. So I have another set of the 9-inch circulars for my second sock when I start that. I have DPNs for doing the heels, and then I also have a bunch of stitch markers so I can mark like the beginning of the round, and also yeah, it seemed like at the end, not the end, but like after you do the heel, when you're doing the gusset, I think you have more stitch markers added. And then I also have a row counter. So I have everything that I need for all of my crafts. I probably have too much actually, just like for the amount of time that will be there and the amount of time that I'll have for actually like crafting, I probably have too much. I'm also bringing my Kindle because that has, you know, all the books. I have so many books on my Kindle. And so yeah, I'm just looking forward to doing some crafts, spending time with family, and I will be kind of, you know, keeping track of what I do when I'm gone. But anyways, that is all for this video. Like I said, I don't know if it will go up probably at the end of the week when I'm already back. So thank you everyone for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. I know that this video didn't have a ton of stitching because it was more like prepping and the work that you need to kind of do to start new things. So it wasn't that exciting, but it was kind of like a busier week. And yeah, so thank you everyone for watching, liking, commenting, and subscribing. I hope you'll be back next week for my new starts and the progress on those, and I will see you all then. Bye!